2 years in Dubai.
Hi, I'm Ash, he's Jay, and this is a Hardy, the most chilled nomad baby ever. We're the Sojourners. 3 years, 4 countries, and an incredible journey later, we're building a life as a nomadic family, here, currently in Dubai. Join us as we share our adventures, lessons, and stories with life on the go.
2 years, yeah. Can you imagine? So we moved here about, just under 2 years ago. We were initially digital nomads when we moved, then became parents and had to figure out everything that comes along with being first-time parents with no family, as well as also figuring out Dubai.
If you're new to Dubai, don't know anything about moving to Dubai, want to move to Dubai, or you're just curious, here is a video for you where we break down our do's and don'ts, everything in between, how safe it really is, and raising a family here. Let's talk about lifestyle.
There's so much to cover with lifestyle because, as an intro, Dubai can sometimes feel like a bubble. Almost like you're living in an episode of Black Mirror, because the service is just incredible. It's so clean over here, it's so safe. It just feels sometimes too good to be true. It's always sunny, like bar the rains that you get sometimes in the floods, but that's like 1 out of 365 days a year.
And for the most part, I think because the lifestyle was so good, generally speaking, people are just really happy.
Yeah.
The sun helps.
Yeah.
But people are just generally like in really good spirits, and it adds to the lifestyle. I think going on walks, going by the beach, and a lot of this stuff is free. So yeah,
I'd say lifestyle Dubai is like a 10 out of 10. There are very few places that compare to it. Like, there's something for everyone. If you want to play tennis or get into tennis, you can. There's paddle and squash courts, there's table tennis, there's water sports, there's hiking, there's all sorts of things for everyone, which is amazing. The weather's also good as well.
Yeah.
For those of you who are from the UK, the way I would describe it is it's summer vibes in London, but throughout the year.
so yeah, it's fantastic, and 10 out of 10 from me. Parenting. It's been unique. I feel like as first-time parents, it's been something that I don't think any location would help figuring out first-time parenting. There is no manual, there is no book. You kind of just have to figure it out on the job. So yeah, I think Dubai has been a perfect cushion for the fall that happens when you dive into first-time parenting, from giving birth in Dubai, which was an entire experience that we'll probably do one video on, to the luxurious nature of the hospitals, to even just like being able to hire a nanny and have childcare options.
Let's get into that. I think nannies and I guess just support is one of the big reasons why people move to Dubai as parents, because in the UK to get full-time support is so expensive. Over here it's a lot more affordable, and it's a lot more reliable because you're paying for it rather than just relying on family or your best mate to take care of your child on a Friday night. You might also have plans. So yeah, I think if you want support, I think it's so easy to have a child here in that regard. Yeah. We don't have a nanny, that being said. Our situation's a bit different because we both work from home, so we can look after a Hardy ourselves and don't need that support. But that being said, when a Hardy does get a bit older, we're definitely going to bring in some support. In fact, just all come, we'll pay for it all.
Please.
Yeah, definitely. Especially because she's running around a lot more now as well. But generally, I'd say outside of just, support, raising a child here is just like heaven, to be honest with you, because you've got so many activities, indoor play areas, outdoor play areas, children's museums, and all sorts of activities. Like, we're just coming from a phonics TOTS class, which is all about, teaching kids phonics, which is just amazing, and it's so close to us. And there's a variation of this almost everywhere within Dubai, so it just works perfectly, to be honest. I think when you get a bit older, it might be a bit different. So when your kids are I'd say in secondary school, coming on to sixth form, and teens, it's a bit different. It's not the same.
It changes, but yesterday I was talking to a mum who has a 13-year-old daughter, and she was like, I taught my daughter how to get on the metro in Dubai, I taught her how to use the bus, and now she travels at the weekend with her friends by herself on the bus and train, and I don't even bat an eyelid because I know she'll be fine. And I think if you have a mature child, you'll probably feel the most safe you could ever feel about them living in a place like Dubai, because of the access to things, because of just the ease, and people really fear the police, and it really helps you.
Fear the police.
It helps you not have as many fears because you know your child will be safe. Obviously, act with precaution, but it feels a bit better to be a parent in Dubai.
But definitely not advisors, so I completely rely on what we're saying here, but from my own perspective, if I had a child that was in their teenage years, I actually don't think Dubai is as suited. Education and stuff is great, but if you're thinking about universities, I'd probably want to position my child maybe somewhere in the US or maybe somewhere in the UK. Even things like getting part-time work here is quite difficult. Otherwise in the UK, like, you could go to JD Sports or River Island or something and get a part-time gig. Here that isn't really the case. Definitely seek advice on it, but I think that's probably something for another video.
People often have a 10-year plan. Make yours, stick to it, and don't be swayed by other parents and their other routes for their kids. Let's talk about money. It's expensive.
Yes and no. So it depends where you're coming from. Like, if you live in London, I actually think it's comparable to your costs in London. If you live somewhere like, I don't know, Sheffield, then of course it's going to be quite expensive.
Yeah, I mean, for the everyday person, I think Dubai has got more expensive.
More expensive. Do you know what? Yeah, let me tell you guys something. What people don't tell you, and the biggest shock that I found coming to Dubai was the initial costs. Now, we came to Dubai and we had to set up a company, fine, and then we had to get visas. And by the way, the visa that we paid for you, Ash, and the visa we paid for Ahadi, our daughter, was exactly the same cost. That's number one. If you feel like, getting a gym subscription, you've got to pay for that up front. It's maybe £1,000 or more for the year. Schooling for your kids, if you have to pay for that. There's no such thing as monthly direct debits in Dubai. Everything is just either termly or annual. So you've got to pay your first term for your kids' schooling, and maybe the registration fee, the health insurance, you've got to pay that quarterly or annually. So again, that's another big cost. If you want to get a car over here, you can rent one, but if you're going to be here long term, it makes sense to buy a car. So you're going to need to put down a deposit for the car. For the place you're staying in, your landlord is going to want checks. So it's not like in the UK where you pay monthly for your rent. You're expected to pay either quarterly at the very minimum, or every 6 months, or once a year. Anyway, the point I'm making is
the costs add up.
That first year, you'll be living on peanuts and water, because it's so expensive.
Unless you have planned for it, and we are going to do a video on actually planning the move, because I think a lot of people just think we can turn up and figure it out as we go along. You can, but it gets expensive, and it gets expensive very, very quickly.
Yeah, definitely. Especially when you think about the glitz and glamour. So when you get here, you're just enthralled by restaurants, brunches. You can easily, as two people, like for us when we go out, easily spend £120 in just a pretty basic dinner or a pretty basic lunch, which is insane. Like, if you're doing that twice during the week, so Saturday, Sunday, maybe even during the week, it adds up. Alright, let's talk groceries.
Okay, groceries are expensive. Like, if you're shopping in places like Spinneys, Waitrose, even Gibson's gets expensive. I mean, at first, I just thought this is the best quality. There were a lot of British products. I just thought that's that's where we need to shop. We need to shop there. Then Jeremy just brought me back down to earth and was like, this grocery bill is so expensive. You need to figure it out.
You know when you get to the counter, and you know what the thing is, when you're in the shop and you're adding things to your basket, like you think, okay, yeah, £5 here, £5 here, £10 here, and then by the time you get to the counter and they tell you how much it is,
I am disgusted.
what can you do at that point?
And
You
it's
have to pay it.
It's like £100 for like 5 things. And
Barely
you're
lasts
sitting there
you a
like,
week.
what?
Yeah, barely
This
lasts
isn't
you a week.
even going to make a meal.
It's a lot.
So it's actually sometimes cheaper to get a takeaway than it is for me to cook a home cooked meal. And that is crazy to me. So yeah, we started shopping at places like Viva.
Viva's like an Aldi basically, or Lidl if you're from the UK. I don't know what the equivalent is in the US.
I think it's more like a Lidl, because I feel like the quality is not Aldi quality. I'm a big
Lidl and Aldi
person.
are in the same category.
No.
They're the same thing.
It's a Lidl.
Even their colours are the same. They're both yellow, blue.
It's given Lidl and Iceland for their iced foods. But yeah, that's where like most people who like want to save money shop.
Yeah.
And then
the biggest key, by the way, is something that we found out only in the last 3 months or so, considering we've been there for 2 years, is we get our meat from a place called Waterfront. It's like a 45-minute drive away from us, but you can get your fruit and veg for a fraction of the price that you get it from when you go to supermarkets. Granted, it's a bit of a drive and it probably takes us a full day. So if we go on a Saturday, we set off at 12, get there at 1, we probably don't get back home to about 4 or 5. It is a full day, but completely worth the cost saving.
Hi friend. Hello. Making friends and building a community in Dubai is actually much easier than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
I thought it would be really hard, but things like Facebook groups, WhatsApp groups.
Get Facebook. We've got friends who don't have Facebook, and because of that, they really struggle to make friends here. But everything here is done on Facebook and WhatsApp. You need those 2 apps.
Yeah, I would say they're essential to living in Dubai.
To meeting people, you need Facebook and you need WhatsApp.
And not just meeting people, even just asking simple questions. There are so many questions that crop up in your time in Dubai that you can't just Google the answer. You actually need to ask someone who's experienced it, someone who's been there, already done the process, and can give you a quick, easy step guide on how to actually get things done here. So
probably put some Facebook groups that we're a part of that we find really helpful in the comments.
Yes, we will. We'll put it in the comments and make sure you join them. Please.
Yeah.
Before you get here, or even when you're here, please get Facebook and join a community.
Yeah. And then in terms of meeting friends is straightforward. I think we were quite fortunate because we go to church. We met a lot of people through that.
Yeah,
but if you live in a community, if you meet one person, they'll introduce you to another person, and it's just so, from there, like, your network just expands. What actually is quite difficult is maintaining friendships.
It's really hard to answer all the WhatsApps. I'm not gonna lie, there's defo people on my WhatsApp.
Literally, Ash met someone yesterday. She got home, so Ash went downstairs, played in the park area, met a couple, came back home and was like, oh, by the way, we've got a lunch date with some friends I just made. And I said to her, babe, not being funny, like, we're leaving in 4 weeks. We can barely keep up with the friends we already have. Like, why are we going on a lunch date with a new couple? And by the way, we're leaving in 4 weeks. It just doesn't make sense. But that is Dubai. Like, you're constantly meeting people. Like, you'll go to one event and you'll meet 5-6 people there, and then they'll invite you to somewhere else. And then you'll meet more people. And before you know it, your weekends are spent, and even during the week sometimes, are spent meeting up with people that are nice and you get along with them, but in terms of building deep, meaningful relationships, I think that's a bit more difficult because everyone's always busy and you've always got so many options and things to do.
So our biggest tip and advice for, I guess this year, we've kind of said this is our New Year's resolution, is to be more intentional with the friends that we actually know could be long-term friendships, and not just get like fleeting friendships where we meet up for a coffee and never speak to them or see them in Dubai again. So yeah, we're being intentional this year, and our advice to you is to be intentional, to know who you vibe with, know who you get along with, and also know who your child would hang out with. Like, don't make play dates with 9-year-olds if you have a 2-year-old child. Like, it doesn't make sense anymore. Okay, so the big question, Jeremy, is how long are we staying here, babe?
I think we're just going with the flow at this point. A lot of people we meet, they fall in 2 buckets. I feel like when you come to Dubai, if you don't leave after 2 years, you're probably going to stay here for like another 2, 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah.
And then we've got people who after 2 years say, right, I've made enough money, I want to get back home, or I miss my family, I want some support with the kids, and getting my family to know my kids and all that kind of thing. For us, we don't know. I think we really like Dubai. There's nowhere quite like it in terms of safety, weather, like the people here. I don't know if you can hear that music in the background. It's a vibe. It's a vibe. Stay tuned for more videos. We're just going to go feed some animals with the Hardy before I start work. And look out for the next video.
Bye.
Bye.
Say bye. Bye.